Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are looking at another action figure from the new Netflix He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon. And today we are looking at Trapjaw with Power Attack. And here is the package. I love this graphic design work, it looks beautiful. In the upper left, we have an up-close portrait of the newly designed Trapjaw as he appears in the new Netflix series. We have Castle Grayskull in the back. Over here, we have two frames of the action feature. So it looks like he shoots a projectile, I believe, and his arm swings. I think that's the action feature. We have Trapjaw himself, beautifully framed in the bubble. On the back, some fig photography. We have Trapjaw. It looks like he has a... Alright, so his power attack is pull and release. And it looks like he might have some sort of spring-loaded waist swivel. And maybe a spring-loaded, like, hammering down motion. The other figures in this assortment are He-Man and Skeletor. Over here we have, it says one-time assembly. It shows you how to attach the claw onto his cybernetic forearm. So yeah, we have the new Trapjaw. To be honest, it's going to take me a while to get used to this new design. He looks like he retains a lot of the key aesthetics and like color scheme that we associate with Trapjaw, but his face is what's really throwing me off. It's gonna take me a while to get used to his newly designed face. To be honest, it kind of scares me a little. It kind of reminds me of the Morlock creatures from the original Time Machine movie from way back when. I don't know why. I think it might be the eyes. But so there's something terrifying about the mouth and the eyes, at least for me. Maybe it's because I'm a wuss, I don't know. Alright, let's take this guy out. Pretty excited to check him out. So far I've reviewed the He-Man and the Skeletor, the Ground Ripper vehicle, and then Skeletor's Pain Thor. And I've been very impressed with what this toy line has given us. I was really surprised when I saw this at my local Walmart this morning. I only thought the only figures out right now were He-Man, Skeletor, and Man-at-Arms. I didn't realize Trapjaw was out also. And I'm not sure if this assortment is different than the Man-at-Arms assortment. And price-wise, I believe I paid, before tax, this figure was marked for maybe like $9.99 or like $9.97. Alright, first impressions of Trapjaw while he's still in his tray. It's a nice looking figure. It really fits in with that very exaggerated anatomy and like cartoon-like proportions that we're seeing in the new Netflix cartoon. I think he complements Skeletor and the new He-Man figures perfectly. He kind of falls within this exact same design aesthetic. I like this guy a lot also because he's more creature-like than the other figures. Trapjaw to begin with, he's a very, like, Frankenstein kind of character. You know, he's part, like, cyborg or robot. His face is, like, disfigured, and this carries on that tradition. It's a very unique-looking character. And if you thought the original Trapjaw looked very unique, I think this one kind of pushes that a little bit even further. Alright, so we have the new Trapjaw in hand. The back of the box says that this was going to be a one-time assembly in terms of attaching the claw to the forearm. I'm just kind of curious because there's this giant screw here. I don't know if that is if that just like serves as a function or if that's just ornamental. All right, I don't know what it is with all these like robots and like cyborg dudes with like single arms, but they always seem to have this three-pronged claw attachment. We saw this with like the Mission Fleet, the Star Wars Mission Fleet Bad Batch Echo character. He had something very similar to this. He has a cybernetic forearm, and he also has like I think either a three-pronged or four-pronged claw, and it reminds me so much of the weapon from the video game Portal. It looks like the Portal gun, if you know what that is. All right, so it snaps in once, and once you get it in, it's never coming out. It's a very solid snap, and you can rotate it so you can adjust it to your liking. I'm not sure what's accurate to the show. And he comes with, it looks like a projectile. I believe that's what this is. And you just load it in, and if you want it, it's not spring-loaded, which surprises me, nor is it friction loaded either. You just loosely place it in. Now, I'm assuming if you want to shoot it out, all you have to do is forcefully push this end out. So you're going to hit this, and then this will shoot out. I think that's what you're supposed to do. The instructions, I don't think, went into great detail about that. All right, so that works. You know, you just randomly, you know, push against it forcefully, and it'll just shoot out. All right, so one thing that Box also mentioned is that this guy is spring-loaded, so I believe he has the same kind of spring-loaded waist and torso as the He-Man and Skeletor figures. So if you look here, there's a cut right below his chest. It's like between his chest and his upper ab section. So it allows for a crunch movement, but it's also spring loaded. So I believe you got, yeah. So you could actually twist him at the waist, and then he springs, which is a nice feature. This arm just rotates, but all right. So this arm rotates also, but if you want, he can hammer down because his waist is spring loaded. So not only does it provide swivel for the movement to the left and right, but also vertically he can hammer down. Yeah, very, very, very unique character. I was also very pleasantly surprised to see him at the store. I wasn't expecting this figure to be out. For me, a lot of these cartoon designs for the new show, it's kind of hit or miss. Like, I like the He-Man, I like the Skeletor. This guy, I'm kind of on board with the new design. It's gonna take me a while to get used to the new head. The new Man-at-Arms, I'm like 50-50 on it. Part of me likes it a lot just because it reminds me of Samus Aran from the Metroid video game, but it's such a far departure from the original Man-at-Arms that I'm not sure if I like it yet. I think only time will tell. But this Trapjaw, it's like there's stuff about it that reminds me so much of the old Trapjaw, but they change it up enough where he seems a little bit more unique. The cartoon proportions, I have to admit, I kind of like the really crazy oversized arm here. It looks ridiculous, but at the same time, there's a very cool, unique quality to it. It reminds me, this guy kind of reminds me so much. There's something about his stature and his face, especially the iron jaw here. I mean, this is like trademark, you know, Trapjaw having this like iron jaw, but his aesthetically, this guy reminds me of a orc from the Warhammer 40K tabletop game. If you're familiar with that. All right, enough about that. Let's just examine this figure up close. The sculpting on the head is nice. His face, a lot of sharp angles. The teeth are well defined. Same with the wrinkles around his eyes. I mean, with the exception of some of the stylization on his jaw and his cheeks, it still retains a lot of those trap jaw elements. Like he still has that ring on the top of his head, although it's not drilled out. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could probably drill a hole out. But he still retains that little ring on the top of his head. He still has the iron jaw for the mouth. But the one thing that's different is that he has actual two sets of teeth. He has, because if you remember correctly, Trapjaw, his lower jaw, the teeth were actually like carved out of the jaw itself. Whereas this guy has the jaw, but then he still retains his like normal teeth on both the top of his mouth and the bottom of his mouth, which is kind of throwing me off. Color scheme wise, he's pretty much almost like the original Trapjaw. He has that bluish skin, the green face, the black armor. He's missing the green belt, which is I could kind of live without that. And unlike the original Trapjaw 2, he only has the one accessory for his arm. He doesn't have like multiple accessories. He kind of has this three-pronged like claw. He has the one giant oversized shoulder guard. Nicely sculpted boots. And the soles have some nice sculpted detail as well. He has some scars or stitching, I believe, on his chest. Right there. It kind of reiterates that Frankenstein kind of feel. Likewise, he has like a crooked spine. I don't know, maybe he has scoliosis. Yeah, it's a really well done figure for $9.99, or you're paying under $10 for this figure. I think it's well worth the price. Decent heft with the plastic. I'm really the more I stare at this guy, I'm really liking this giant arm. There's a very charming quality about it. It's menacing, but it adds a lot of character and personality to him. Much like how He-Man seems like really disproportioned and top heavy. This guy feels the same with having this giant shoulder guard and this giant forearm. And it looks cool too. Once you plug this thing in there, this little projectile. I love the contrast of this like magenta against this black. It looks nice. In terms of articulation, his head rotates left and right. It kind of bobs a little bit up and down, but not a whole lot. So I'm assuming it's on a ball joint. His arms rotate, and that's pretty much it. He has wrist articulation. This arm rotates as well, but it's kind of hindered because of this part of the shoulder pad. It always hits his back. And the claw here it can rotate. As we saw earlier, the projectile can shoot out. He has a spring-loaded torso, which provides for his spring-loaded arching back, so he can hammer down. He could arch forward just a little bit. His waist movement, he doesn't have waist swivel, but he does have movement mid-torso, which allows him to rotate. And as we saw earlier, it's spring-loaded. His legs can kick forward, somewhat blocked, though, by this little flap here. He can kick out. Unfortunately, there is no knee or ankle articulation, but that's to be expected, especially if you've handled the He-Man and Skeletor figures already. Yeah, this is a decent figure. If I had to rate this guy numerically, I kind of want to say 7.5 flat. It's a unique design. It's a fun design. It's well made. The presentation's done well. It's not perfect. I think they could have done with some improvement. Like, I understand this is a much more budget figure, but I think they could have added a little bit more articulation, at least to this crazy arm. Because it seems like such a waste to have something this detailed and this bulky and not have it really do anything outside of this having this rotate. At the very least, they could have at least maybe included a spring-loaded feature for this, as opposed to like you manually just pushing it out. Because the one thing, it doesn't lock in place, so it's always just gonna fall out. So I would have appreciated maybe a spring-loaded feature, or maybe some way to get this to like lock into place. The detailing, the sculpting is nice. I'll give it that. And the color scheme, you know, it retains that look of Trapjaw. But one of the coolest things about Trapjaw, you know, at least with the original toy, is that the ability to swap the different accessories. Like, you could change his hand, his arm. You could put in a blaster or a hook. And then you can store those additional accessories on his belt. So I kind of miss that. But, I mean, for what it is, you know, this is based off the Netflix cartoon. And it kind of retains that aesthetic. So it's a much more stylized version of the character for a younger generation. And I think it's okay in that sense. Alright, so wrapping this video up, do you need this? Yeah, sure, why not? If you're on board with this line already, it's very doable. There aren't a whole lot of figures yet, so I think, especially if you have Skeletor, he needs a couple of henchmen, and until they start giving us more, I think Trapjaw really fits the bill. It's a fun figure, cool character. If you're like me, you might take a while before you get used to this new face. But yeah, he's kind of wild looking. I kind of dig him. He's growing on me. Alright, so wrapping this video up, once again, my name is Lou. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for your likes, comments, and support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, take care of yourself, be happy, and I'll see you soon. Alright, later.